Hey guys, how we doing? Welcome back to Lee's Slot Cars for the start of another build. So let me show you what I'm going to do. So in the last couple of videos I built this tunnel on a really neglected part of the layout historically. Always sort of left this to the last minute or even not done anything with it at all. So I did the tunnel, which I really like. It works well. All lights up and everything. If you haven't seen the video, check back. There's two parts, 1 and 2, how I built that. I'm now going to do something in this little patch here. Now, it's not a lot of space to work with, but it's going to be good. I'm going to enjoy doing this. I'll tell you what I'm going to use. Now, a while ago, my old mate Andy sent me some 3D printed containers. This one's particularly good because it had interchangeable fronts, but I've used one of these before. And it forms like, the doors open like that, and the roof comes off and it all comes apart. So that's going to be the cafe of some sort that will sit perfectly in that section there, like that. I don't think I'm going to bother putting lights in this, to be honest. It's too far for the cables to reach. I don't know, we'll see. So yeah, basically it's going to be painting this, decorating inside, and then doing something with this area. So there'll be a bit of grass, there'll probably be a seating area of some sort. I'm running out of seated figures, I need to get some more from somewhere. So just tidying up this bit really, and then, you know, making the fence nice around the edge. So I think the first thing I've got to do is give this a coat of primer, let it dry, and then work out what colour I'm going to paint it. This was from, do you know what, I might just keep it there because it works. This is where I had Foamboard cut round the hairpin bend. And it had come, it sort of split in places and the cars were catching it, but I just put some red insulation tape around it and it actually works quite well. So it doesn't look great, but I think I'll leave it there. So yeah, I think this will probably be painted the same colour as the wall there. And it might have a bit of graffiti on it, who knows. That's the plan. Let's see how we get on. Do you know what? I've given that a coat of primer. I think I'm going to keep it this colour. I think I'm going to keep it predominantly grey because I quite like it. I think I'm going to paint the sills along the front a different colour, and we'll have something on top there. I think this is going to be quite basic and simple. I'm not going to do a great deal with it. I was half tempted just to leave it closed, as in not open for business, but we'll see. I think it'd be quite nice to decorate inside. Yeah, let's do it. I'll decorate it inside. So, right, this is what I'm going to do over on the layout. The plan is, so we'll have the container there. And then this is just going to be, going to have a little grass area there. A grass verge coming all the way around here. I think we'll have a little bit of grass just there. And the rest will be the footpath, paving of some sort. So I think what I will do is just get some paint out and paint this bit green, paint this bit grey, just to get some base colours on there so I know what I'm working with. So yeah, let me do that. That's the base colour, I've decided. But this is going to be covered with grass flock, and this is going to be painted so it resembles some sort of paving. So that's fine. I need to paint the wall here. I'll have to take it off and redo it, but paint the wall and get the blocks put in that as well. And then what? Don't know, but I'll work on the building, I suppose. Okay, so the building is painted. It's had a coat of primer. It's going to stay grey, but I'm going to paint, I'm going to weather it because it's far too gleaming and clean and nice. So it's going to have a bit of, oh, let me sit down, a bit of weathering. And then just picking up some of the details. So we're going to put some, obviously you've got an on the other side. You know, you've got the locking mechanism on a container. So that's going to get painted silver. And we'll pick out a few details. I need to think of a name for it and get a name put across there somehow. And then I can take all this off and work on the inside. So I think we'll look as if we'll give it a look as if it's timber clad I guess, inside. So I'll do it a woody colour, and we'll get a kiosk in there, and we'll make this look a bit pretty inside as well. And I'm going to try and get a light to it. I don't want to compromise on this. It's too easy just to say, no, I'm not going to put a light in, it's too hard. Where there's a will, there's a way. I think I've got another little battery pack, which will be 3 volt, which might not power the light especially well, but it'll be better than nothing. So, right, let me crack on. I've taken the wall off. There was at the back, the wall, this piece off. And I've given it a coat of paint, I've sprayed it, popped the concrete block markings in. I'll leave this bit because you won't see this, that's behind the container, and I'm very low on this primer spray. Really good stuff. Get it from Wilco. There you go. There aren't many Wilcos about anymore. And the back of it I'm going to paint black. So I'm going to get that painted black because that will be, you know, like the border there. So I'm going to paint it black. Whenever I say paint it black, I always think of the Rolling Stones. There you go. Thought I'd share that with you. So, right, this is dry and ready. Hot glue gun's warming up. I'm going to get this put back on the... Right, okay, so the wall is painted. I put a little dividing wall in there, done the block work. They're very thin blocks, so it's not to scale, obviously. This is going to be like a little rubbish store, oil store, bin store for the cafe. I think that works. So I've popped a cap on the top there, cut that curve shape to go on top. I need to paint that black, and then I need to work out what to do with the flooring. A little capping over this bit here, and then when that's done, paint that, and then paint all this black, and it should just bind all this section at the back together. So paintbrush time. I've now put the capping over the top. I think that looks a lot better now. So we've got the walls and the capping, little bin store which will get worked on. I need to decorate this, but that'll be the last part of this build. So the next thing I'm going to do is a bit of landscaping. So I'm going to get this walkway done. I'm not quite sure how. I might do block paving again. I quite like doing that. And then get some grass flock to put on the verges. So that's the next step. I did think about trying to make a little hanging basket to put off there. Might still do that, but we'll see. Okay, so I think the next thing is mark out this flooring and start doing some paving, block paving. And just to add on, I've painted the back black. I might put something on there, a sticker or something, who knows. But yeah, that's sort of, it gives a good boundary to this little build. Right, thinking about what I'm going to do on the flooring here is I'm going to make out of these, which I've still got quite a few, like a boardwalk. There goes, and it's going to be slightly raised, and it's probably going to go up to here, maybe. So yeah, so I need to put like a raised deck platform first of all that will come across here, and then I have the really laborious job of cutting off all these angle pieces so they're all flat. So if I appear to have gone into hibernation, it's because I'm going to be spending the next hour cutting little bits of wood. Okay, so I've made the frame for the boardwalk deck, and now I've just got to go ahead and stick all these pieces on. So I'm not going to do this on camera because it's not very exciting, so I'm going to stick all these on and we'll see what it looks like when it's done. Here we go. A rustic little boardwalk. I'm not going to move it. I'm going to wait till it's completely dry. They've all been super glued on, but I'm not going to move it until it's all dry, and I'll probably give it a coat of paint, maybe, don't know. I'll pop it up there, see how it looks. I'll give it a coat of yellow ochre with a little bit of black wash in it, so it just sort of dirties it up a bit, and I think that looks pretty effective, in my humble opinion. So I think what I'm going to do is, rather than where I had this sort of grey here, I'm just going to have all this grass, all this bit here, a path coming through, and all the rest of it is going to be grass. And then maybe I'll do something in the middle of the grass, don't quite know what. a bench. Could have a bench on there, couldn't we? Right, okay, so I'm going to paint the bottom. Yeah, I'm going to paint this green, and I think I'll mix a bit of PVA with it and then put the grass straight on top. Let's see how this works out. Now this is a mystery, because my static grass applicator, which didn't work, has suddenly started working. How can that be? How can that be? Have the little elves been overnight and fixed it? I don't know, but I'm really pleased. So now I can do static grass. Well, that looks better, doesn't it? The static grass isn't very static, so I think I do need to invest in a new static grass applicator at some point. It's more flat grass, it's not really standing up. I should maybe have sprinkled some Viagra in there. Right, okay, anyway, moving on from that. I think I'm going to make a wooden gate to go across here. So I'm going to put a post in there, and a little wooden gate. So that will look quite good. I really like the way this is looking. Boardwalk, I'm going to put in fact, let me work on the building. I'm going to work on the building now, and then I'm going to do a gate all the other way around. We shall see. Right, I've just put together a very simple gate using these offcuts, magnetic racing offcuts, which are so handy. So that's one gate. It's a bit fiddly, it takes a bit of time to do, but I think it's well worth it. So I'm going to crack on and build another one, and then we'll see about getting them put on the layout. Okay, that's the gates finished, and I've mounted them onto, oops, sorry, I'm a bit shaky. Mounted them onto a couple of fence posts, and these will just stick into the foam board below. I'll pop a bit of glue in and they can stick into the foam board. So I quite like those. I think I'll give the fence posts, once it's all dry properly, I'll give them a coat of paint because they stand out a bit, but I'll leave this as it is. So I'm going to paint them, get it put on, pray that it fits, and see what it looks like. There we have it. The gates have been fitted. I really like them actually. I think they add another dimension to this little build. So I think all I'm going to do, I'm not going to do, because I think I'm conscious this is dragging on a little bit. So I'm going to do this, decorating it, lighting, everything in another video. All I'm going to do to finish off this is just to do some of that crazy paving on this path. And then we'll call this one finished. Well, this has been a most enjoyable build. It's been quite simple and not too taxing, but some fiddly bits, and you know, picking up on a few different techniques and materials, and it's sort of all encompassed in this one, so I'm really pleased. I said before, I'm going to leave decorating the container shop for another video, because this is probably going on a bit too long. I'm going to put some sponsor decals in here. It will hide some of this splattered paint, because I've painted, this was red insulation tape that I've painted black because the red stood out too much, and that needs sticking down when it's dry as well, because that's just lifted slightly, which often happens when you paint it. So yeah, I'm happy with this, and I hope you've enjoyed watching it, and if you have, click like, do all the rest of it, and we shall move on to decorating the container next. So thanks for watching, guys. You'll take care, my friends. Bye bye now.